In a village far away, where tall trees whispered in the wind and the night was darker than the deepest river, there lived a young woman named Zuri. She was beautiful, kind, and had recently married a man named Tunde. They were happy, deeply in love, but there was one problem. That problem was Mama Mbeki, Tunde's mother. Mama Mbeki was feared by many in the village. People whispered that she had a heart as black as the night and knew dark magic. She did not like Zuri, and it wasn't because Zuri was a bad person. No, Mama Mbeki hated her simply because she was jealous. She had always been the most important woman in Tunde's life, and now Zuri had taken that place. From the moment Zuri entered Mama Mbeki's house, the old woman treated her badly. She made Zuri do all the housework, insulted her cooking, and complained about everything. "This food tastes like dirt," Mama Mbeki would say, even when the food was delicious. "You are lazy," she'd shout, even when Zuri worked from dawn until dusk. Tunde loved his mother, but he didn't know how cruel she was being to his wife. Mama Mbeki was always sweet and caring in front of him, but behind his back, her words were like poison. One day, Mama Mbeki decided that she had had enough. She wanted Zuri out of her life, forever. That night, Mama Mbeki called Zuri into her hut. The firelight flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. Mama Mbeki's face looked dark and serious. Zuri, always respectful, entered the hut, wondering what her mother-in-law wanted. "Zuri," Mama Mbeki began, her voice soft but cold, "I need you to help me with something very important. It is a task only you can do as a member of this family." Zuri blinked, surprised by the request. Mama Mbeki had never asked for her help with anything, but she nodded politely. "What do you need me to do, Mama?" Mama Mbeki's eyes gleamed in the firelight. "There is a rare plant that grows deep in the forest. It's called the night flower, and it blooms only at midnight. I need you to go fetch it for me tonight. Without it, this family will fall into great misfortune. It is said to bring peace and blessings to the home." Zuri hesitated. Everyone in the village knew that the forest was dangerous at night. Wild animals roamed freely, and spirits were said to wander in the darkness. But she didn't want to refuse Mama Mbeki's request. Maybe, just maybe, this task would finally make her mother-in-law accept her. "I will go, Mama," Zuri said, her voice steady. "I will find the night flower and bring it back." Mama Mbeki smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Good," she said. "Remember, it only blooms at midnight. If you are too late, well, let's just say bad things happen in the forest after dark." Zuri left the village just as the sun was setting. The forest loomed ahead, its trees tall and twisted, the path disappearing into darkness. She carried a small lantern and walked quickly, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't know why, but something about Mama Mbeki's smile had made her uneasy. As she entered the forest, the air grew colder, and strange sounds echoed through the trees, rustling leaves, distant howls, and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Zuri gripped her lantern tighter, her mind racing. "It's just the wind," she told herself, trying to stay calm. "I'll find the flower and return before midnight." But the deeper she walked, the more the forest seemed to come alive. The shadows seemed to move on their own, and Zuri could feel eyes watching her from the darkness. She quickened her pace, her eyes scanning the ground for any sign of the night flower. After what felt like hours, Zuri finally saw it, a small glowing flower with deep purple petals and a golden center. It stood in a small clearing, its light faint but beautiful. "There it is," Zuri whispered, relief flooding her chest. She bent down to pluck the flower, but just as her fingers touched its soft petals, a loud growl erupted from the bushes behind her. Zuri froze, her heart leaping into her throat. Slowly she turned her head and saw it, a massive black hyena with glowing red eyes standing just a few feet away. It snarled, its sharp teeth gleaming in the dim light. "No," Zuri whispered, her body trembling with fear. She had heard stories about these creatures, the spirit hyenas known to guard the forest at night, hunting anyone who entered their territory. The hyena took a step closer, its eyes locked on her. Zuri knew she had to run, but her legs felt like they were made of stone. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Suddenly, the hyena lunged at her, its jaws wide open. Zuri screamed and dove to the side, barely missing its sharp teeth. She scrambled to her feet, clutching the night flower in her hand, and ran as fast as she could.